Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Washington Live, powered by KCTC. I'm your host, Jaron Rosien. Our producer is Nick Steffens. Our publisher is Matt Bryant, and we are part of the Southeast Iowa Union. Later today, our guest is Andy Miller, the County Director for the Iowa State Extension. Upcoming guests next week, we won't have a show on Friday, but next week we'll have Alicia on Monday to talk about the tour of homes. That's Alicia Davis. And on Wednesday, we'll have Jan Gallagher and Missy Westfall to talk about the upcoming show, Reason for the Season. So this could almost be your weekend since you got Friday off with all of the hosting you're going to have, Nick.
Yeah, so since I'm the baby of the family and like my older siblings have started their own families,
sure.
They have that obligation come Thanksgiving Day, actual Thanksgiving Day. So we're having a kind of early Thanksgiving. Then we also decorate my grandma's house for Christmas, where my sister's the brains of the operation and then I'm the brawn.
The brawn?
Yeah, as you can see.
I would not have guessed. I wouldn't exactly guess that.
I had to lift like a 25-pound box, and people my grandma's like, "You're so strong," and I'm like, "Thanks."
Oh my gosh, that is sweet. Well, good for you. We will miss you on Friday, but we'll look forward to today's conversation and then picking up again next week. Our guest wears multiple hats, so we're going to talk about kind of mental health and some of the mindfulness events that the Extension Office is holding, but Andy is also a firefighter, so we might mention or touch on that topic because that has been a thing as of late. Of course, Fire Prevention Month is last month, and that's for a reason. And we are seeing a lot more fire calls now as, homes are being heated and safety is an important thing to check on. Weather, the reason for that is the 28-degree weather with snow showers that we're currently experiencing. What's upcoming? Did you look at that?
Clouds and just cold. Luckily, the snow will stop, I think.
Namely winter. That's what's going on. Let's hit our police report, and we will get right to our guest because we have lots to cover. So, last time we spoke, there's been 51 calls for service since, 14 in the category of traffic, 7 in animal. And you printed the whole report because I'm kind of highlight the animals.
Yeah, and so I haven't looked at it. Usually I'm like, I copy and paste them out of the report and put them onto a separate sheet, so I haven't read them this time. I'm excited.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a mystery for you. Well, there are only a couple surprises. 14 traffic, 7 animal, 4 in assault, 3 harassment, 3 warrant arrest, 3 sex offender checks, 2s and 1s for the other categories: civil, suspicious, public service, fire, alarm, all other offenses, standby theft, trespass, so on and so forth. We'll start with November the 14th. Caller advised a blue Ford Ranger failed to stop at a stop sign and continued east down East 2nd Street. Caller advised 3 young boys were in the vehicle. 109 responded and was unable to locate.
I did see that one, and it's the same darn kids.
So I am not a brain surgeon, but these Blue Ranger adolescents are little shits.
Yeah.
And I would think that you could track them down. This is like the 3rd call for service that they've been called in.
And it may
speeding, reckless driving, yelling out the windows.
And it may or may not be the kids that yelled at me in the Mount Pleasant Hy-Vee parking lot.
Highly unlikely,
but
for our guest, Nick was heckled in the Hy-Vee parking lot in Mount Pleasant by 3 juveniles in a blue
Ford Ranger.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was the exact situation. Maybe it's...
Well, be on the lookout.
I don't know, yeah.
Although when I was 14, I did speed by 10 miles. So we would have ag class at the high school. We would go from the junior high to the high school at 4th block. We would try to get there as fast as you possibly could. And I definitely got a ticket and lost my school permit for 30 days.
We're getting off track here, but I may get a ticket in the mail because the Mount Pleasant City did not do a good job of cleaning the streets, and I slid right through a stop light, which I think there's a camera there, and so I might be getting.
I remember that being in the news about using like photo enforcement and different philosophies for income for the city of Washington.
There's no sign postage, so if I do get a ticket in the mail, I'm fighting it in court.
I write letters. I will help you. You don't even have to fight it in court.
I'm showing up.
So what you do, you'll just do nice letterhead, and you're asking for an administrative appeal, and that they, through that process, waive the ticket, and you just look at the code, find your pieces, type it up. I can help you.
But I kind of want to show up and like be the Saul Goodman and fight it in court.
We are a little off track. So much for getting right to our guest. Our other call for service, caller advised they believe they found the vehicle that caused damage to an Alliant pole. 106 responded. Information will be passed along to 102. See, deductive reasoning.
Yeah.
I am a fan of it. You printed the whole thing. We have lots of animal stuff. So at 1434, we have a report of the dog that won't stop barking. 1652, car versus deer. 1735, car versus deer. 1734, caller reports there are a lot of cows in the roadway. 1756, we hit a deer. 1833, her dogs got loose, a bit of person walking by. The animals are really wild, right?
They're acting up.
Yeah, as it is. That covers the 14th. We have one more day to hit. I just realized when we have Alicia on, we'll have like 7 days of police report to hit.
Oh, I didn't even. That's going to be fun
We'll
for
pull
me.
the cream of the crop for you. Speaking of you, if you have a birthday shout out, please put that in the chat. If you have a local event, anniversary, or anything else you'd like to share with us, you can put that in the chat as well, or email washialive@gmail.com. I actually just ran into someone at the store today that has been doing programs on the Waco 10-year anniversary of 4-day-a-week school.
Oh, yeah.
Because they just hit 10 years of doing that, and lots of schools are looking at that.
I would have loved that back when I was in school.
Guest idea for the future. Our next day, we have a caller report of someone outside yelling for help. Another caller report later, they could also hear someone yelling for help. 104 and 113 responded, located the subject, who was then given a ride home. We had in Wellman a student at the school in possession of a vape. They were issued a citation.
That's crazy to me.
In other good news, we had someone that showed up at the jail to turn themselves in. They were not valid to drive, and they were also cited for driving without a valid
Oh, come
license.
on. They turned themselves in. Let it slide.
Well, you can, while you're at court,
Yeah.
different systems. We had an officer request for a patron who was acting odd and would not respond to questions. He is talking to people that are not there. We have a description. We had officers respond, and the subject was asked to leave and not return for the day. I think they might have been under the influence, perhaps, of something.
My English teacher in high school told me it's okay to talk to yourself as long as you don't hear anyone talking back. And I remind myself that every day.
Well, that's that creative writing. If you're doing like dialogue, I think you would kind of imagine it happening.
Yeah.
We have just a couple more to hit before we go to break. South 4th, caller reports a student was threatened while in the pickup lane. 106 responded and will speak with the county attorney under investigation. This is where I want to know what's happening in between the lines.
Yeah.
Did we have like obnoxious behavior or obnoxious adult behavior, or
Yeah.
what really happened?
Were they in a blue Ford Ranger?
It's not listed. Another deer that was hit. A loose dog along Highway 1. A large black Angus walking down the middle of the roadway. Another deer that was hit. Again, busy animals. And then finally, caller reports his ex, who currently resides in his home, is moving the cameras inside the residence. He would like to speak with a deputy.
Like
He sounds very nice to let the ex live in the home.
Yeah, that's better man than me.
And then finally, we end on the caller reports the Skunk River Lodge is on fire. Brighton Fire, Washington Fire, Brighton QRS, Adam 56, 9220, and 9221 all responded. Our guest today would have been one of the responding firefighters, or one of the assisting firefighters. I believe his role was different today. And we'll talk about that for just a touch. And then we'll talk about mental health and the programming at Iowa State Extension. Thank you for watching Washington Live. Stick around after the break with our guest, Andy Miller.
Federation Bank is a locally owned bank providing award-winning customer service. We believe that we are more than just a federation of banks, but a federation of communities, serving Brighton, Richland, Wellman, and Washington, Iowa. Federation Bank's highly skilled staff is here to make sure you are able to accomplish your personal and professional goals, whatever they may be. Federation Bank, your family bank.
Hospice isn't a place, it's a type of care that focuses on living. Servicing a 7-county area, the Hospice of Washington County staff of nurses, social work, hospice aides, spiritual and grief support, volunteers, music and massage therapists are able to provide free end-of-life care where the patient lives. We write wills, give consent for organ donation, but rarely is there a plan for what we would want the final phase of our lives. At Hospice of Washington County, we encourage our patients to be in charge of their healthcare decisions while maintaining quality of life.
Family owned and operated by Andy and Sarah Ross. Ross Auto has been your vehicle repair and maintenance headquarters since 1935. We specialize in all makes of cars and light-duty trucks. With our variety of available services, let us help you keep rolling and your vehicle operating efficiently. Services include general auto repair, alignments, brakes, fuel injection, and more. Schedule your appointment today at 319-653-5656. That's 319-653-5656.
Emmy, I don't trust stairs.
Why?
Because they're always up to something.
Welcome back to Washington Live, powered by KCTC. I'm your host, Jaron. Our producer is Nick, and our guest is Andy. Andy Miller, the County Director for Iowa State Extension. Hey, Andy.
How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you. Before we hop into the things, you've been up since early, the wee hours.
Yes. We had we assisted with Brighton. They had a structure fire this morning.
I was going to get the download on the fire, but it sounds like you missed the ride and ended up doing the what would you call it, the behind the scenes work.
Behind the scenes work, yes. My garage is not cleaned out yet, so my truck is still sitting outside, and this morning I had to get it cleaned up and warmed up before I could actually get on the road.
Which is good scene safety first. You didn't
Correct.
Just tear out of your driveway.
You talked about all the deer getting hit. I do live in the country, so I don't want to be one of those people in the log with that struck a deer. So
I was on my way to help with the fire, and I just ran into a deer, put it in the ditch,
Correct.
all the wild things.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the work. How long have you been on the department?
Since about 2015, I believe.
2015. Of course, today's topic includes more of your role in Iowa State Extension, and I love to do background first. How long have you been in the role at the Extension office?
February will be 2 years.
That flies by.
I know.
I remember you just getting hired, I think.
I know. It's been great 2 years, and I think that's what makes it go by so fast, is it's been fun. A day in Extension, you learn something every day, something new.
Well, you have a great team. Of course, Amy has been on
Yes.
closer to the fair time, which is a whole category of things you do. Of course, we're going to talk about some of the mental health programming. 2 years in the role. First, what does the role include? Like, what's a typical day for you at the Extension office? Is there a typical day?
I will say there's no typical day. The only thing that's typical is the doors open at 8 o'clock every morning.
Okay.
So I try to get there early. Being the county director, I'm in charge of the adult programming. So I do all the adult programming that
Okay.
comes into Washington County. I also do a little bit of the supervision role there in the office as well, just to make sure bills are getting paid, the employees are getting paid, and everything's on track.
Well, I can't imagine that's too bad. You seem like a pretty well-behaved team and well-oiled machine.
Correct. Yeah. We have Brandy Dawson, who's our OA. She's been there for almost, I don't know, she'll be there a full year coming up
Wonderful.
in May. And then Diane Renner, who is our Ag in the Classroom.
Okay.
Another great program that we're allowed to finance here in Washington County. So.
And then Amy, so is it the four of you, or is there more than that?
There's the 4 that's in the office they're technically our employees.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Cherry Sandine, who is our YPS, and she's an actual Iowa State employee. And then Rebecca Vidito, she's an agronomist, but she's also an Iowa State employee.
Also part of so 6.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Before we talk about the events, just in the category of the work that you do, what comes to mind as the most rewarding or the most challenging, or both? Like, what is your takeaway over the last 2 years? What's the most rewarding part of your job, and what's the hardest part?
I can start with the hardest part first. The hardest part is just knowing all the programs. So Iowa State University actually provides a lot of programs, and I think there's like 480 different programs that we can bring.
Oh, wow.
And just to sit there and you look at this catalog, you're like, okay, what can I do? What can I have a specialist do? What's going to benefit Washington community? So that, honestly, that's a great problem to have.
Sure.
But it is a little overwhelming. I will say that the best moment is when you're helping somebody and they have that aha moment. They get it. whether that be in mental health, like we're going to talk about later, or whether that's just the farmer that's needing some help with their garden.
The pest or like the time. I remember that. I was able to send pictures of.
What was it? It was something in your garden.
Yeah, I think someone threw a pumpkin out, and it was like a weed.
It was a gourd of some sort.
It was a gourd, yeah. I'm like, what is this plant? Anyway, so from the big to the small.
Yep,
yeah.
that's right.
That brings me back. Well, of the many categories, mental health has been a focus of the last, just a worthy focus as of late. Tell us what has been happening, and then I believe there's something that's ongoing and coming up. Let's talk about those events, and then we can plug those flyers too, Nick.
Yep. So in Washington, obviously the last couple of years have been really rough for our community. So Amy put it on her plate that she wanted to do something in the schools, and was able to pull that trigger this year. So she found some funding, she found some time somewhere in her schedule. She found time.
She's a busy one.
Very
That's
busy.
wonderful.
And she actually got into the schools and is doing what's called Mindful Teen through the health class of all the 8th graders. So
perfect timing.
Yes. So she just completed the first term. She had 22 students that completed the program. I believe she met with them, I believe it was 6 different times. And it's just a social, emotional enrichment program is what it is. And it's just to get the kids to think and then to feel comfortable about going to people to talk about different things. So she was able to provide that, and then she'll do the rest of the kids during the spring term. And so she will then talk to 120 students over 1 year's period.
Well, that was my takeaway, that ripple effect. So 6 times, 22 kids, 120 overall, but recognizing that difference for me, it's like that you're in control of how you respond. You might not control what happens to you, but you can control how you react to that, and whether you learn that wherever you learn that in your life. It's just such an important thing to learn. I feel like I learned it late, but I always learn the hard way. I digress. But those 22 kids, they interact with other kids, and that'll rub off, right?
Yes.
And that'll rub off on another more interactions. Yep. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, and that's the goal of the program, is then to see that ripple effect. And if you get through to just one kid, it's worth it. It's worth it. So
all day.
Yeah.
So that's what Amy's been working on.
Yep.
You've mentioned a farm and ranch well-being, and then Family Mindful Mondays. One has already happened, and one is currently happening.
Yep.
Let's talk about what you did, what the farm and ranch well-being was.
So the farm and ranch well-being, we actually wrote for a grant, and we were awarded it. Brandy Dawson, my OA, she was
Which that is office assistant, correct?
Assistant,
for those
yep.
that might, okay.
She has the drive to try to help out people with mental health. And so she wanted to take that on. I said, go right ahead. If this is something you want to do, let's do it. So Brandy, her region was 16 counties that she visited.
Oh, wow.
And through
Is
this...
that what the Iowa State Extension region is, or is this a different region for the program?
This is just a different region for that program. Through that, she visited every single county. She had then the option to do like one-on-ones with farmers as she met, and then we also categorize things like indirect contacts then too. So she had over 2,700 contacts, indirect contacts that she was able to talk with farmers or business owners or bankers, accountants, that sort of thing, anybody that would work with farmers, and then 250 direct contacts that she had with people. And then what she was doing is she was actually giving them contact information about, hey, if you're having a bad day, it's okay. Here are some numbers that you can contact, people that you can actually go and talk to, and find some help. And it's okay.
So the goal was kind of making connections, and not necessarily for that moment, but for the future moments. Yeah.
Yep. And what we did is we had folders all made up, and so that we could go out and just hand out the information. And a lot of farmers are very prideful.
Sure.
They're not going to ask for help, but if you at least give it to them, put it in your tractor, put it in your truck. You never know. Maybe it's for a friend. So that's the way that we tried to sell it. She also stopped at almost every single county fair in that region, so she would spend a day at those county fairs, again, just to make those contacts. Like I said, going to the lending institutions. And actually right now, the second phase of this farm and ranch well-being is that they're going to develop that folder that I was talking about in Spanish. So then
Absolutely.
we're going to go out and distribute that to any of the Spanish-speaking residents in those same 16 communities.
Well, talking with local leaders in ag, there's a lot of bilingual involvement in the team. The teams are large.
Yes.
And that makes sense.
Yes.
It crosses my mind with the prideful farming also is humility and being polite. For that, I would think you wouldn't have a lot of rejection, like, oh, I'm not going to talk to you or take that. I would imagine that. I hope that she would be well received by our farmers.
And she was. We partnered a lot with, so we have these big meetings of private pesticide meetings that our agronomists put on. And so she was being able to go in and talk to 100 guys at a time. I shouldn't say just guys, farmers at a time.
Sure.
And being there just to introduce, hand out the packet, and just kind of tell them what it's about. And then they would take it. You would never come back. The packet would never be left on the table. They would always take it with them. So
That is good to hear.
Yeah.
So Amy's been busy, Brandy's been busy, and something that is now happening, and you said the first just occurred, Family Mindful Mondays. What is that?
Correction, yeah.
Did I misspeak?
Nope, you're good.
All right.
Correct. That is fresh off the press as of this morning. I think emails went out to the different schools.
Oh, brand new. Very cool.
Brand new. Amy was excited to get this rolling out. So now this is
Perfect
going to be...
timing then, because we've been talking about having you on for quite a while.
I know. So I just put it off till something good was going to happen.
It worked perfect.
So the registration is going to be coming out probably here mid-December. So this is kind of like that Mindful Teen, except for now we're going to offer it to families. And again, Amy, this is a 4-H program, and our whole office is getting together, and we're going to teach it. It's going to be, I believe, 4 different lessons in the evenings. It's going to be free. It's going to have
For anyone? Is it for just 4-H?
It's for anybody. So if you have any children in school grades between 4 and 8 grade, then you can come register, and we're going to feed you. We're even going to do childcare. We have other partners in our community, the YMCA, the library. I mean, we have all these other partners in the community. We're actually going to offer this twice, once in February and then again in April.
That is wonderful. And I think you sent that poster, correct?
Yes.
We will put that poster in the chat. So that listener, viewer, I hope is a great takeaway for something that you or someone you know, if it's a good fit that you could be involved in. It's happening twice. It's 4 different times. There's childcare. There's food. Food is great.
We'll feed you. That's the one thing that we do really well is feed people.
That is true. Thank you. You put me to work occasionally,
Yes.
and I'm happy to do it. Tell me, let's keep talking about this Family Mindful Mondays. What type of things where's the location and what's the time, I suppose, would be good things to touch on.
The time will be from 6 o'clock to 7:30 will actually be the program. I think we're going to meet just a little earlier.
Sure, get things
to
settled.
get the
Yep.
food and stuff. And then we're trying to think of like a neutral location. Most of those students are going to know where Stewart School is, so
Sure.
we've partnered with the school, and we're going to be in there in their art room and have everything going there.
Well, I'm excited. And one other reason I love doing this show, I might not have known about this otherwise. And while I don't have children 4th through 8th, I know people that do, and steering someone that is in need to a program that would benefit them would be a pleasure.
Yeah. And it's just that mindfulness of how to, how you interact with people and notice that someone else is having a bad day. Give them a little leeway, talk to them a little bit. Being proud about yourself and being positive and being healthy, all those things.
Thank you for coming on to talk about it. We're going to go to break. As always, we'll put this information right in the chat, so you can click on the comment line and you can find it. If you haven't done so yet, we'd love it if you click like and follow, maybe share. You can share directly to someone or to your feed so we can grow together this show, Washington Live. Stick around after the break. We'll talk about some of the other programming. We'll wish some happy birthdays and end with the birthday game. We'll see you right after the break.
Since 1905, Kelowna Cooperative Technology Company has helped our communities stay connected with the latest advancements in clear, dependable telecommunications services. KCTC provides rural Iowans with access to high-speed fiber internet, as well as phone, television, computer repair, and cybersecurity solutions. We're also proud supporters of local organizations and area schools within the community. KCTC, keeping Kelowna connected.
At the Capper Auto Group, we put our customers' needs first and understand that everyone is as different as the vehicle they select. We offer new Ford, Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, and Ram vehicles in a friendly environment that puts you in the driver's seat. When it comes to service, we maintain factory-trained technicians and competitive pricing. The Capper Auto Group still believes that service after the sale provides the best customer experience. Come see the Capper experience for yourself.
Welcome back to Washington Live, powered by KCTC. I am Jaron, that's Nick, and this is Andy. We've been talking about Iowa State Extension programs in the category of mental health. During our second segment, we're going to touch on the wide variety. I've messed up words twice now, but it's much more than mental health. Let's touch on the other two things you've got, and then we'll end with the birthday game.
So another one that we talked about we have a program that I put on, and it's called QPR, Question, Persuade, and Refer.
Question, persuade, refer.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's given people the confidence to go talk to someone about suicide. And it was important with everything that was going on in our community that this was something that I could get into Washington County real fast. And believe it or not, our police chief said, hey, this is something you're bringing. I want all my guys to attend. So
what does this mean? Does it refer to like our interactions, our day-to-day interactions?
Yep.
And if we see something that is a concern, is that what it references? Like
giving someone the confidence to go up to that person and actually say, hey man, how are you doing? Are you having a bad day? Are you thinking about doing something that is not good? It's giving that confidence to someone. And what QPR is, that what they try to do is say, hey, this is just like CPR. Everybody should know the aspect of it. So CPR, everybody kind of knows the aspect of CPR.
Sure.
You know, compressions, breaths, staying alive. You know, and that's why QPR is kind of like
the letters are
that.
similar.
Yes.
CPR for that. Yep. QPR for this.
Here for this, and it's supposed to give people that confidence to actually go up to someone, and if you see that they're having a bad day, or if you just see something's amiss, if you pick up on some of those triggers, then to address it right away with that person.
And then persuade and refer would kind of connect to what the farm and ranch well-being, right? The connecting to resources.
Correct.
The referring to what?
Yep. Refer to resources, and then persuade them to do it. Like, hey, I'll stay with you, and if you want to call them right now, I'll stay with you while you call them. So that was the whole concept of this. So we had actually the whole police department took this course, and then here in Washington County, the HR actually had a lot of the director or the county director heads do this as well.
Well, I'm thrilled to see the stigma shifting. Maybe there's still work to be done, but the need for this and that need being present seems just more transparent, and the stigma seems to have really been lessened with, the need to address, just like your well-being for your body, for your nutrition, like your mind, pretty important.
Mm-hmm. And the person, when we put it on, we do talk about it just like that, is that you want to break down that wall, and it should be something that you talk about more often. And the more that you talk about it in general, then people, if they are having a bad day or if they are thinking about it, they will discuss it with you instead of being behind closed doors all the time.
Well, and then there's kind of a shifting in terminology too, like brain health, I believe, is something that I've heard with some programs I was involved with. And the terminology is not what's most important, I would say, but just maintaining your mind and addressing it.
Yep. So I was really proud that we were able to get that in here right away. And then for our community sport that wanted to take the class. So
Well, thank you for that. Shifting gears to not the mind, Master Conservation was another one of the many programs you wanted to mention. What is that?
Master Conservation is a 7-week-long class that we are putting on. It's the first time we've had it in Washington since like 2014. They've redone it. And it is a class of, right now we have 8 people in that class, and we're traveling around Washington County and Keokuk County, kind of looking at our geological features.
Cool.
And our discussions are what makes Washington and Keokuk County different than other places in Iowa, and why are we doing these practices? So we talk about soil types, geology types. We're going to talk about waterways.
Sure. The watershed.
Our watershed, our forestry, our forest, and then how we kind of put all that together. And here in Washington, I don't know if everyone's aware, but we do have a research farm out by Crawfordsville. And so we were just actually there this last week and kind of see how they do everything out there at the research farm. They can use all that information that we're learning throughout Washington County, but they actually have that implemented out there.
And is there like a prerequisite for this, or is it open for anyone that's interested and passionate about what you've just described?
Yep, it's open to everyone. It's not like your master gardeners where you have to take classes and you have to pay so much money and you get this certificate and then you have to keep up on the education. Sure. It's just the terminology is master conservationist.
Is there a fee, however, to cover the expenses for all of the learning?
There is, yeah. And that fee is going to change for the next time. We are going to continue to offer this probably every other year. It was well received, and
whatever the fee would be, I'm sure it's very competitive. I feel like what you get and what you offer for what you might pay is
yes,
beyond.
Yeah. And it's local instructors. So I had Jim Cuddyback did a lesson.
Oh, great.
We had some master gardeners do a lesson. We had our local forestry person do the lesson. So it's local people teaching, and some of my participants this year might actually want to teach a lesson. So we give them kind of the curriculum, and we just let them roll with it.
Jim was a Leadership Washington instructor or host on one of the days. Oh, I can't believe that's been like 11 years ago now when I was in it, but I still remember because what a natural. I'm sure one of many great instructors.
He was a teacher for numerous years.
I feel like he was an educator, and that's probably why it was so smooth. Lots to offer. Nick, what one interests you most? Do you have something that you want to learn about?
I feel like it'd be cool to be a master conservation.
You do well with that. Not good at the math, this kid, but everything else, smart cookie.
Yeah.
I shouldn't.
It's a well-established joke. I feel like
it is. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention to our viewers before we close out with some birthday wishes and our lighthearted birthday game that I've told you about?
Nope, just out at the extension office, we're always looking for ideas and other things to bring into our community. So at any point in time, if someone sees something in another community and they want to bring it to Washington, reach out to us. If I can get it here, I will.
Well, those links will be in the chat, the program for the Family Mindful Mondays, the link for the Iowa State Extension website, and all of the information we've discussed today will be right in that comment section. Let's go to birthdays. Okay. And we'll close out and we'll get back to our other jobs. Hey, I have happy birthday for Jessica Walter Maldonado, a Leadership Iowa colleague of mine. Tommy Crawford has a birthday today. Jerica Patton has a birthday, and Rachel Fishback, belated birthday yesterday. She's a humble birthday person because she didn't say a word about it. We Snapchatted, took photos, not a word.
Not a thing.
I see you. Happy belated birthday, and happy birthday to the others. Any birthdays in the chat?
No.
Not yet. You can always put it in. We'll wish you a belated birthday after the fact as well. Take it away with the birthday game. As mentioned, 1 point for within 3 years, 2 points right on. I'm pretty bad at it, so you might take away. There's a trophy available for your office.
That's a rocking trophy there.
Conversation starter. Thanks to Matt Bryant for getting us those. Nick, take it away.
Before we get started, the national day is National Check Your Wipers Day, which I did.
That's fitting.
The other day.
Pretty fitting.
Didn't you need new wipers?
Yeah,
you mentioned a rain issue.
Yep, and I fixed them, and I almost shattered my windshield because I tried to get the blade off, and it hit my thumb, and it was cold out, and I kind of reacted, and then it slammed down on my windshield, and luckily did not crack anything, but it was a scary moment.
Well, he's our recent college kid, so he's driving like a 1992 Saturn
It's
with
a
400,000 miles.
2001, I think. 2001 Saturn.
As long as you're not driving a blued Ford Ranger.
with a-
So, yeah.
This is true.
Yeah.
Show us our birthdays.
Yes. So first up, we have Lisa Bonet
Okay.
from the Cosby Show. Was that her claim to fame back in the day?
Yeah, so we would be would you like to go first, guest? And then I'll go first. We can rotate back and forth.
I want to say 43.
I'll say 44.
Oh.
Play it like Price is Right.
Wow.
She is actually 55. She is
Oh, we both are no
aging
points.
well. So 0 points there. Next up is Pete Davidson, the comedian, was on SNL.
All right.
Famous for dating very beautiful women despite looking like this.
Well, he has a skin disease. As
Crohn's
well
di-
as
he has Crohn's
He
disease.
has Crohn's disease,
Yes.
which is part of the reason.
Yes.
And he's also a good one to talk about mental health.
Yes.
I
Yes.
kinda enjoy, let's see. I know he's like. Sorry, I'm like getting all off track. I've enjoyed him on SNL because he's like
I love
he's
it.
like the underdog. Like I feel bad. I feel not bad, but I have empathy.
Yes. It's a very
And
self-deprecating humor.
I'm just stalling. I think he's younger than I am by a tiny bit. I'll say 35.
38.
He hasn't even hit 30 yet. He's 29.
Oh, geez. Well, what are we gonna do?
We're getting old.
0 to 0.
0 and 0. We're killing it.
Oh, let's see who's up next. We have Shigeru Miyamoto, who is the person who created Super Mario, Donkey Kong, all of the Nintendo.
We haven't
games.
talked about that controversy, because Mario's large rump in the movie was shrunken to
Yes.
be a flat buttocks,
They
people lost their
de-thikified
mind.
Mario.
People are very upset. In the
I
new
missed
Mario,
this. Okay.
It's the new Mario movie, and they changed his features.
Yes.
And enough so that it received backlash.
And also voiced by Chris Pratt, who is not Italian. Like, doesn't even do the voice. But
Maybe they thought it was offensive. I don't know.
Maybe.
So is it your turn first? What would you
I
like
think
to
so. I'm
throw
going
out
to say 73.
I'll say 68.
you guys are both on the board. He is 70. So 1 to 1.
Cool. 1 and 1. We could tie it. I like
yeah.
a good tie.
We got 2 left. We have Maggie Gyllenhaal here with her more famous sibling, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Well, I don't know. Depends on what shows you. Well, you're
That's
probably
true.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like her a lot, though. She's
Yeah, she's very talented.
does well. Okay, I think my turn first. I'll say 43.
I'm going to say 55.
She is 45.
Oh.
I
Pulls
am
ahead, 2 to 1.
clicking ahead. Is she the younger sister or the older sister? Not
I
important.
think she's older. Last one, we have Mason Ramsey, the yodeling kid in Walmart. I don't know if you remember him from like back in 2016.
I do not.
He got,
Do you?
He went viral for yodeling in the middle of a Walmart.
No.
Got on Ellen, signed a record deal and everything.
Oh my! Is this a recent picture?
Yes, he now works at like a Subway.
So he's old enough to work. Okay,
Yes.
that helps.
He didn't
me.
get too famous.
That gives me a clue. Is it my turn or your turn?
Uh,
One, two. I think it's yours.
okay.
Wait, Maggie, did I go first on? Yes, I did. It's your turn first.
It's a hard one. I'm going to say 21.
My goodness. I would have guessed like 14 or 15,
Well-
but I feel like the working thing means 16, and I'll say 17. I'm just clicking right along. I'll go 17.
He is 16 years old.
I will, normally I like to be a gracious.
No, you can party it up. That's fine.
Congrats to, but I'm not going to take the trophy. I wanted to send it to your office so everyone could heckle you.
You can be my second place trophy. There's only.
That's true.
When you come back, I'm sure there'll be more things that
Okay.
we have to talk about. You can have another stab at it. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
Really important stuff. Not the most important way to end the show, but the important stuff is in the middle. And if it applies to you, it'll be in the chat. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week with our guests, Alicia, and then Jan Gallagher and Missy Westfall for the upcoming shows at the auditorium. Have a great weekend. We'll see you soon.